All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. Going to check out its local search and its city search, see if either of them or both of them or any of them got BSS. So we're back here in the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. Our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned post, pinned video. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our, here in white, we got our intent spectrum here. High intent on the left, low intent on the right. And if the boudoir photographer is rising, they're usually bringing in all peeps from, this entire intent spectrum, kind of all these cohorts. But if the boudoir photography business is falling, then they're missing one or many cohorts here on this entire spectrum. So over on the left, which we talk about here, BSS focuses on the highest intent people, Google search, social search, those searching for boudoir photo shoots like ASAP right now in their city right now. Over on the right, that's where we focus on like the lowest intent people in our city. And that's our other sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. And right now, we only focus on working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads over there. So that's what we got. Now, boudoir search sameness, BSS, is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And 0 slots means they're on page 2 or deeper, or effectively invisible, because we know that approximately 80% of all Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 only searches. And we care about these 80% because these peeps are, that's the bulk of the market, the approximately 80%. So most of the market, that's the bulk. And if we're invisible to them, that's killing our business. Also, 1 slot on page 1, also not good enough. It's not good enough because, there's 10 organic slots on page 1 of Google. And if we're missing 9, or if there's 9 of the boudoir photographers on page 1, then, then basically we're looking the same as everyone else. We're not standing out. And a buyer's just going to, click on everyone's link going down, contact everyone, price shop everyone, and literally, we're going to be price shopped to death, compared to death. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google, extremely common, but not normal. That means like we got big. It's not normal to have so few page 1 links on Google as a boudoir photographer. Either 0 1. Yeah, we got some big issues then if that's happening. And so market saturation, basically everyone knows about this one. This is when it seems like every week a new boudoir. It seems like someone's getting a new iPhone, they're throwing up their Google My Business profile, send it the National Boudoir, or and they got their website saying they're a boudoir photographer, and so they are, increasing the competition for the keywords on page 1, and increasing that competition, maybe kicking us off. And also, if someone gets, like a new camera now, they're posting the mom groups on Facebook saying that they offer boudoir photo shoots. And so that's market saturation. Also, big market saturation happened when COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, but people still turned money somehow. And look, everyone's got a phone with a great camera, so kind of natural that a ton more people become, new boudoir photographers or offer boudoir photo shoot services. Now, the thing that most people don't know about is the false belief of page 1 equality, but more and more people are coming to know about it every day. So this is where, it's kind of auto-accepted by boudoir photographers, like, hey, every boudoir photographer basically gets 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And yeah, maybe my website was ranked on page 1, and and maybe market got a little saturated, we got pushed to page 2, and well, that's simply how it is. We are that's normal. And yeah, hopefully they delete their website so Google can re-rank us up on top or get us back on page 1. But that's not normal. Google will actually give us as many links on page 1 as we want to take, as we want to put in the effort to take. So it's basically like we're falsely believing, basically everyone gets 0 1 slots on page 1. No, that's incorrect. I know it's incorrect. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in 10 days. Because I wouldn't put in the effort to take as many slots as I want, and Google does give that. Google does give those links to people. Next, we also know that a boudoir photographer with BSS boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, DBP. So we're building up our universe here on the left. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and page 1 equality. Thankfully, we now finally have a solution to boudoir search sameness, and that is social search saturation, our S-cubed methodology, which we invented. The way it works is it's exactly what it says. We saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, most relevant to what boudoir photography buyers are searching. And when you saturate these on the social media networks, that's kind of like, our small streams or small rivers coming down the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America. And when we do that enough, eventually they all flow together to the Amazon River. That's page one on Google. So kind of all these dominating these high intent keywords on the social networks will eventually flow to us dominating, as many links as we want to acquire on page one on Google for those searches. And also, a special thing about SQ methodology is it's the only strategy I've seen for boudoir photographers that can actually fight back against market saturation, overcome it, and still grow a business in a relatively fast time frame. The only other solution that had previously existed is building a brand, a well-known brand. Dude, that takes like 5 to 10 years. We literally ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore. AI is coming to eat people's, careers, livelihoods, and we gotta get moving. So how has SQ methodology overcome market saturation? So let's say we got 1 million boudoir photographers in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they shoot boudoir, and we actually. So we're one of the 1 million. We're like, all right, market is extra saturated here. We need to crank up SQ methodology to the max to actually give ourselves a shot here to keep growing. Not simply maintain, but actually continue to grow. So we crank up SQ methodology to the max, and let's say probably the rank like the first 300 slots across all social networks for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in Raleigh. And as a result, that flows onto Google. And let's say we take the first 300 slots as well. So this would be like really ultra maxing it out, which is a very tiny possibility of actually ever happening. And so let's say, and as a result, anytime someone who wants boudoir searches on social or on Google, we're literally the only person they see for the first 300 slots. And Google is 10 slots per page, 10 slots organic search results per page. So literally the first 30 pages on Google is basically only us. And our competitors start showing up, page 31. But we already know approximately 80% of people ain't never even going to page 2. So ain't no one going to page 31 to find our competitors. So as a result, we're basically the only one our boudoir photographer or people who want boudoir can find. And we are, we're getting all the intake. Our business is the one that's still growing because we've taken over all the highest intent search slots. And so a lot of peeps, didn't even know this possibility existed because they had they kind of auto-accepted, implicitly accepted the false belief of page one equality. So that scenario in Raleigh, we're actually still growing the business, and everyone else, every other boudoir photographer is disappearing out of those million, but we are still growing the business and still successfully growing in the midst of massive market saturation. And this happens a lot quicker than brand. But kind of a bonus, long-term benefit is SQ methodology actually is the fastest way to reach a well-known brand. So imagine if you're a well-known brand and you still continue to use SQ methodology, you'll basically be unstoppable. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility, P1V. And initial benefit of this is we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. And so, initial benefit of SQ methodology, we get more links, but on page one, on Google search. But as a result, every link we take, we're kicking basically a competing boudoir photographer off there, putting them back on page number 2. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 only searches. So we're making them visible to the bulk of the market, approximately 80% of the market that never even reaches page 2. So it's an awesome initial benefit, second benefit of utilizing SQ methodology. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. Now we do have a recommended minimum, a GBC recommended minimum of hitting 3 out of 10 page 1 links on Google. That's because if Google's recommends 3 out of 10 times for the highest intent keywords, buyers are subconsciously going to be like, oh, why are they recommending this person so much? Come by the third time I see us, and they may even only click on our links, not even any of our competitors, even though we only have 3 out of 10 because we look so much better, so much larger, so much more recommended than the basically than everyone else. Also, there's a very, very tiny, rare chance that another boudoir photographer will have 2 slots page 1 on Google, so we dominate them as well. When we got basically when we got 3, so we dominate all the people that got 0 slots on page 1, or 1 slot on page 1, or 2 slots on page 1. We dominate everyone. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, VBP. So this is our entire universe, micro universe here. We got a declining boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, or a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page 1 equality. Thankfully, we now have the solution, thank the universe. S-cubed methodology. We achieve page 1 visibility, we become a visible boudoir photographer, and we achieve boudoir search visibility. So now my results, me using SQL methodology. So I wanted to rank for the term BLCS Boudoir, and I exclusively used SQL methodology to do this. So I started out with 0 out of 10 links on Google page 1. And let's look at how many organic slots I got on Google page 1. I was able to get using SQL methodology. So we got organic slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. So I literally got 9 out of 10 slots on Google page 1 search with only 10 days of utilizing SQL methodology. So these are the results that I've got for myself. Now, main event here, main course, main feast. We're going to see if this Boudoir photography business has BSS for its local search, Louisville, North Carolina, or its city, kind of close to city search. All right, so first the local search, Louisville, North Carolina. And let's see, go down the organic slots. So they got one. They got, man, this actually looks a lot different than I'm used to. We got 2, we got 3, we got 4, we got 5. All right, awesome. So 5 out of 10. Great. So we do not have BSS for the local search, and we are hitting the GBC recommended minimum of at least 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google. So awesome for that. Now we'll go to the city search, kind of the closest city nearby I could find. Let's see. All right, we got 1. And all right, looks like that's it. That's it. We got 1. So we got local search, did awesome. City search, we got 1 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. So we do have BSS, Boudoir search sameness. And we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done your local search, you've done your city search, and you actually see, you've got BSS for either or both of them, or you're not meeting GBC minimum recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 Google slots for either or both of them. And you're like, all right, you realize you got BSS. You understand page 1 equality. There's a false belief, and you're like, all right, I broke through that. I need to achieve, I need to get as many page 1 Google slots as possible. And you also understand the market saturation with, the new iPhones, more boudoir photographers coming in, new cameras, more boudoir photographers coming in. But you're also looking ahead and you're saying, man, AI is taking a ton of people's jobs. Last time a bunch of people lost their job, COVID, a huge tsunami of boudoir photographers coming in. So you've actually decided, hey, you got to fortify your life right now and actually get as many page 1 slots on Google, which is only a downflow of getting as many page 1 slots on social search for all the social network searches. It's downstream of that. Before all these boudoir photographers come into the market, come into the city, and start making their websites, ranking, competing for page 1, kind of like prepare, kind of like the levees in New Orleans, since the city's below sea level, kind of like build those levees up to prevent floodwaters or the flood of boudoir photographers from taking your market share. And you're seeing, okay, SQL methodology is the only solution that can get me there effectively. And you want to achieve page 1 visibility, hit the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10. Become a visible boudoir photographer, have boudoir search visibility, because you need this on your way to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also know that you actually, there's actually hidden back-end benefits of doing this SQ methodology as well we have not talked about yet. First one would be in we're building thematic keyword columns around our brand name, our social handles, our website, and all that. As we do SQ methodology more and more, it increases the probability we get actually recommended for AI overviews. Here at the top, premium placement, only 1 slot for local search and city search. And you also want the back-end benefits of every time we execute another day we execute SQ methodology, increasing the probability we get recommended through all the AI search engines, ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. These all run on, you know, thematic keyword clusters, authority, age. And so every day we execute the execute methodology, we're increasing that, probably getting recommended there. And we know more, literally, I mean, Google still has, I believe, like 89 or 90% of global search share. But dude, AI search, using more and more and eating into Google every single day. I haven't used standard Google search in literally like a year to actually click websites and open and read stuff. I've always been using the Google AI mode. And so you want these back-end benefits. You also decide you want to be the first mover in your city, because you recognize, my current plan is to only work with one person per city on this. So you kind of want to box out your competitors, and kind of achieve all this front-end results. More hit the GBC minimum 3 out of 10 on page 1, kick out competitors off page 1, effectively make them invisible to approximately 80% of searchers who never go to page 2, and build these momentum on the back end, which is higher probability AI overview, higher probability being recommended AI search, and higher probability nobody in your city ever catches you. Putting more distance between you and them, by building up this thematic keyword columns attached to your brand for the backend for AI search engines to be recommending into the future. Because I know last time I used Google or ChatGPT to search for boudoir photographers in a city, dude, it only gave me 3. I'm like, what? There's like 60 in this city. It literally only displayed 3. So we want a higher chance of being those 3. And you also know if someone else in your city jumps on this first, they lock you out, well, you're gonna have to derive or figure out SQL methodology on your own, and then you have to go execute it. But you won't be confident executing it because you don't know if you even derived it correctly to use it correctly. And then you'd have to equal our output with your competitor to just maintain the gap. You'd have to actually exceed our output with your competitor for us, to actually make up ground on us, and kind of take back the momentum that we're building in the back-end AI search and the front-end results we get kicking you off page 1 of Google. So you've decided, screw that. I'd rather be the first mover in my city, give myself the highest chance of blocking out all the boudoir photographers coming from AI. They're going to be forced losing their jobs, but people still got to earn money. And you decide SQ methodology is the solution you want, the path you want to take. So shoot me a DM. Not right now. My DMs are full, or my DMs are closed. The hospital we're not taking any new patients right now, but